Hello everyone, Speedrunner 0-18 here, and today we'll be seeing how fast Marill can beat Pokemon Leafgreen after intense routing and grinding. Let's do this. Let's do the first rival battle as we talk about this Pokemon. Marill has a base stat total of 250 with 70 base HP and 20 in the offensive stats and 50 in the defensive stats and a 40 speed. Yeah, 40 speed is not going to outspeed much of anything, and that attack and special attack is just so bad. However, I think a saving grace for this Pokemon would have to be its moveset by level up and TM. Let's start with its level up moves. As you can see, Marill starts with Tackle and Defense Curl at level 5, and then throughout all of its levels, it can learn Tail Whip, Water Gun, Rollout, Bubble Beam, Double Edge, Rain Dance, and Hydro Pump. A lot of water and normal type moves, but one move stands out, and that's Rollout, a 30 base power move with 90% accuracy that doubles in base power for each consecutive hit with the maximum amount of 5 hits. But something you may or may not know about Rollout is it goes hand in hand with Defense Curl. An unknown mechanic in this game is that when you use Defense Curl and spam Rollout, it'll actually double its starting base power from 30 to 60. So it'll double up on the double base power. So despite Marill's lower attack, it can deal out some serious damage with this strategy. Via TM, some notable moves we can get are Water Pulse, Ice Beam, Blizzard, Iron Tail, Return, Dig, and Brick Break. However, due to our very low offensive stats, I think Rollout with Defense Curl will still be one of our most powerful combos, but these other moves should help with coverage. As we go through Route 1 and deliver the parcel to Professor Oak, I want to discuss the kind of Marill we went for. Since we cannot get hidden power in this game since it is locked behind the ability Pickup, which I ban in my runs due to being very luck dependent of a strategy, unless my main Pokemon has Pickup, because if I want to give it an item, I'd have to take away whatever item it's holding, so I think that's fair game. Anyway, I just gave Marill 31 IVs across the board. I also made Marill a female to avoid attract luck from enemy Clefairy and Lorelei's Jinx. Plus a lot of the hard trainers in the game have male Pokemon, so if I ever need to rely on attract, I will be the perfect gender to exploit that move. I also gave Marill the ability Huge Power, which actually doubles its attack stat. This ability will not show up in the stats in the bottom left, but just rest assured, when I do damage calculations, I will be using the attack doubled. With all that explanation out of the way, let's move on with the run. After I catch a Rattata and Pidgey for a Cut, Fly, and Dig, I watch the catching tutorial and arrive at Viridian Forest. While I'm in here, I do need to defeat all of the bug catchers, but I gotta do it in a particular order. When I enter the Viridian Forest, I battle the first bug catcher closest to the entrance, the one with the Caterpie and Weedle, and then the third bug catcher which has 2 Caterpie, and then the final mandatory bug catcher, Sammy. I do want to defeat the one with 2 Metapods as well, but at this point I do not have enough tackle, so I have to go to the Pewter City Pokemon Center to heal up and then defeat that bug catcher with tackle. After all the training is done, I go back to Pewter City and enter the gym. I battle the Light Years trainer first with Water Gun for the free experience, which is why I needed to do the training since Marill does not start with Water Gun, and then I challenge Brock. This fight is super easy and doesn't need much thought or strategy. With Geodude and Onix 4 times weakness to water type moves and a low special defense, Water Gun makes super quick work, and I get a Brock split of 6 minutes and 51 seconds. That is a pretty good split, but then again, I did use a water type move in this run today, so yeah. After defeating Brock, I go to the Pokemon Mart to buy some repels, potions, antidotes, and paralyze heals, and then I head to Route 3. While here, I defeat only the 3 bug catchers on this route. I use Water Gun since it has more base power and better accuracy than Tackle. However, on the final bug catcher, I reach level 15 and I finally learn Rollout, one of Marill's best moves, especially in combination with Defense Curl. After the trainers are defeated, I get the Persim Berry just outside the Pokemon Center for Misty to help deal with confusion, heal at the center, and then enter Mount Moon. While in here, I get the Mount Moon Rare Candy, as well as spam Water Gun on the Hiker for the free experience. I like to do that with Pokemon that have a Water or Grass type move at this point in the game. And then I go do the mandatory Rocket Grunt and Super Nerd at the very end. The Rocket Grunt goes down with rollout only, no defense curl needed since the Zubat will go down in one hit. And then on the Super Nerd, since his Pokemon are a bit more bulky than Rattata and Zubat, and none of them are weak to rock, I use defense curl first and then spam the hell out of rollout. You can truly see how great of a combo this is. Now just imagine if this thing had stab from it like Aggron did in Pokemon Emerald. It would be such a powerhouse. Then again, unless you're super slow like that other Pokemon was. When I exit Mount Moon, I have the move tutor teach Mega Punch over Tackle. Marill can't rely on rollout for every fight, so I do get Mega Punch. I then heal at the Cerulean City, get the rare candy, and battle Rival 2. On Rival 2, the plan is to spam rollout as long as I can without the chain breaking, and then just spam Mega Punch once the chain breaks. This chain is enough to take down Pidgeotto, Rattata, and Charmander. The Abra just needed a Mega Punch, but this thing can't hit me anyway, so it's fine. Now, Marill tries to evolve after this fight, and I say no. This will be quite annoying throughout the run. There is an Everstone in the game, but you need to catch 20 Pokemon to get to it, and I think that would be slower, so I just have to deal with the annoyance. Now for the Route 24 and 25 Gauntlet of Trainers. The trainers in this gauntlet were pretty easy, kinda like always. I had to use a variety of Rollout, Water Gun, and Mega Punch. Plus at level 21, Marill learns Bubble Beam, a 65 base power water type move with a 10% chance to lower the opponent's speed. It was 33% in Gen 1, but lowered to 10%. This is no longer a TM in the game, and there's no move tutor for it, but Marill can get it, so that's great. Now it won't even need Water Pulse, because Water Pulse is weaker than Bubble Beam. When I get past the Nugget trainers, I get the TM for Attract, Pecha Berry, and the Elixir. From there, everything else was easy, and then I rescue Bill, get the SS ticket, and go back to Cerulean City to show the innocent bystander a thing or two from stealing someone else's TM and not returning it. Anyway, afterwards I heal at the center, equip the Person Berry, and go battle Misty. On Misty, I set up with Defense Curl right away. You can probably see where this is going. And Marill goes on the offensive with Rollout, completely devastating Misty. Also being resistant to water type moves is super helpful, and I defeat Misty in under 20 minutes. Dang, Marill's impressing me so far. I wonder if this will keep up. In Route 6, I get the Citrus Berry and Rare Candy, and then arrive at Vermilion City, where I heal at the center and get the Versus Seeker before I leave. You can tell what we're gonna have to do later, aren't you? I then get on the SS Sand, get the berries that are in the trash cans, which are against the FDA regulation, the Firo, Dugtrio, and Alakazam Regulation Act of 2003, and then I battle Rival 3. On Rival 3, the plan is to spam Rollout and then spam Bubble Beam when the chain breaks. The Pidgeotto goes down in 2 hits without any sand attacks, thank God, and then Raticate goes down to a crit. And then Kadabra comes out and disables Rollout, which I was kind of expecting. I then start to spam Bubble Beam on it, which was kinda dumb since I probably should have Mega Punched it. I take too much damage from Kadabra, and then Charmeleon finishes me off as my first reset. On the next attempt, I did miss a few Mega Punches and I did get burned. I was really worried I would keep missing Bubble Beam due to Kadabra getting a Kinesis on me, but I managed through, and move on from this forsaken boat. I then get cut, leave the ship, go to the mart to buy some repels and super potions, and then I go battle Lieutenant Surge. Not. Do you really think Marill can take on Surge now? The answer is no. I have to delay Surge until I get Fly, and then I can go through Saffron City to get back to Surge. Since if I were to train here right now to the minimum level I need to be for him, it would take way longer than just backtracking. I get the bike voucher, then the bike in Cerulean City, and then I do the Route 9 Rock Tunnel Gauntlet. The Wrapping Lass at the start does poison Marill and try to get my HP down, but Perseverance is key, and Marill did just fine. The Pokemaniac with the Slowpoke had to be taken down with Double Edge, which I had taught over Mega Punch at level 28. Conveniently right before the Slowpoke came out, so that was actually great timing. Double Edge will do way more damage than Mega Punch and is 100% accurate, so in the few cases I need it, Double Edge will be my strong physical move that isn't rollout. And just remember, I have huge power, so that thing's going to do devastating damage. Besides those 2 trainers, everyone else in here was very easy, so let's skip ahead to Cerulean City, where I heal at the center and enter the rocket hideout. In the hideout, I get the usual max ether, lift key, rare candy, and the calcium. I use the calcium on Marill to give it 10 extra special attack EVs, take care of the rocket guards with ease, and then battle what is usually a roadblock for most first stage Pokemon, Giovanni. In this battle though, Onix and Rhyhorn are easy one-shots with Bubble Beam, but that's not exactly what I'm doing. Kangaskhan will defeat Marill given enough time, so what I have to do is take down the Onix with Bubble Beam, and then kill Rhyhorn with several weak rollouts, and then hopefully, if none of them miss, Kangaskhan will get hit with a boosted rollout attack, and hopefully do the one hit. That is one disadvantage of the rollout strategy, is that if one of them misses, the whole chain is ruined. On the next attempt though, I get to Kangaskhan and it one-hit KOs me with Mega Punch. Well, that was unlucky. Next time I make it back to Kangaskhan, it uses Bite, causing me to flinch and my chain breaks. Okay, that is just irritating. Okay, next time I get back to Kangaskhan, it uses Fake Out, causing a flinch, and now my combo is ruined and I faint. You stupid motherfucker. Okay, I'm back here yet again. It uses Tail Whip instead of doing anything else, and I land my powered up rollout to knock this thing out. Jeez, that was super painful, but at least we can finally move on. After finally taking down Giovanni, I get the Silph Scope, and then I dig out, get the tea, and go shopping. Besides the usual super repels, I also buy a few super potions, because I was running low, and then on the 5th floor, today's vitamin of the day is a calcium. I don't really want to boost my attack since my ability already doubles it, and my speed is so bad it'll just be a waste of time and money using a Carbos, so I felt like special attack was the way to go. I then get the HM for Fly, teach it to Pidgey, heal to full, and then walk through Saffron City and go south to Vermilion City, where I'm finally ready to battle Lieutenant Surge. The plan for this fight is to use one rollout chain and hope it's enough to take out everything. I take down the first Voltorb with 2 rollouts, followed by the Pikachu with 1, and now on the Raichu. It uses a Shockwave, leaving me at 13 hit points, and then Marill missed its rollout, so that's 1 reset. On the next attempt, however, I make it back to the Raichu on a +4 rollout, and then Raichu goes for Double Team, but Marill still lands a hit through Double Team, and I get a Surge Split of 39 minutes and 30 seconds. If it weren't for the fact that I skipped Surge for later, this could have been a very bad Surge Split. But however, since I already have Fly, I can just fly from the Vermilion Gym and go straight to Pokemon Tower to face Rival 4. On this battle, the strategy is to spam Rollout and then spam Bubble Beam when the chain breaks, but I do have to use Double Edge on the Execute because Bubble Beam is not going to do much damage to it. However, when I make it to Gyarados, I try and defeat it with Rollout, but it does too much damage to me and I get another reset. On the next attempt, Execute puts me to sleep right away, but I wake up pretty quickly and defeat it. Then Kadabra disables Rollout and I get another reset. On the next attempt, I make it to Gyarados and I decide to use a Defense Curl on it right away to reduce the damage taken with Thrash, and then I went to use Rollout. And then I realized it was still disabled, so then I go for Double Edge, dealing over half, and then Gyarados attacks me and leaves me at 14 hit points left. And then the disable on Rollout finally wears off, and then I use it to defeat the Gyarados and the following Charmeleon, and I finally win this battle. Dang, so far the hardest trainers have been Rival 3, Rival 4, and Giovanni. When some of the worst trainers in the game, in my opinion, are difficult, you know you're in for a rough ride. Period. While in Pokemon Tower, I get the Elixir, take the Heal Pad, and then spam Bubble Beam on any channelers I encounter. Near the top floor, I send the oppressive Marowak to hell with Bubble Beam, and then I defeat the rocket grunts with rollout for the most part, and then I rescue Mr. Fuji and obtain the Poke Flute. Before I do anything else though, I go south to Route 12 and get the TM for Return, which is going to be slightly better than Double Edge, because even though Return has a lower base power at max friendship being 102 compared to Double Edge's 120, at least Return doesn't have recoil damage, so that's going to be nice. I then fly back to Cerulean City and then heal at the Pokemon Center and begin going on Cycling Road to the Safari Zone. While I'm on Cycling Road, I get the usual Rare Candy and Max Elixir, and then in the Safari Zone, I get the usual Full Restore, Protein, Gold Teeth, the TM for Double Team in case I need it for round 2, and then the HM for Surf. Even though it may cost a little bit of time, I do occasionally pick up some helpful TMs like Double Team and other things along the way, just in case I need them for the second round. But there is one TM I should have picked up during this run, and you'll see what it is when we do round 2 at the end. Before flying out of the Safari Zone, I teach Marill Surf over Bubble Beam, since with Stab, Surf will have an effective base power of 142. Normally the next stop on my itinerary for Marill would be Silph Co, but not yet. Marill is not ready for any of the hard obstacles ahead, such as Erica's grass types, Koga's team, which is just hard in general, as well as Rival 5's diverse team. So at this point in the game, I route out a grind on Fisherman Elliot, which I've often described as one of the best pre-league spots to grind in the game if you're not going to do blackout training at the Elite Four, which can make you lose a lot of money and can be slower unless you can knock out at least 2 members. Plus on Elliot, his entire team, which consists of a Poliwhirl, Cloyster, Sea King, and Seadra, gives you around 4,000 experience per battle, which is pretty darn efficient. Besides, Marill's in the fast level up group, so it's going to level up incredibly easy. After I do the Elliot grind to level 53, I heal at the Cerulean City Pokemon Center, and then I go into the restaurant to get the coin case from the bald man drinking his problems away, and then I can purchase 1,000 coins where I'll be getting the Mystic Water. I didn't get Ice Beam because I didn't think I needed it. Plus, during this time, I didn't know about the route I have now, where I get every single vitamin in Silph Co to get money very quickly, so I just have the Mystic Water and that's it. The Mystic Water will boost Water-type moves by 10%, 20% starting in Gen 4, so it'll be pretty helpful. So with the item in hand, I finally do Silph Co. When I get to the 5th floor, I get the PP up in the plant, the card key, and then the protein on the 5th floor, and then teleport up to the 3rd floor to get the protein in a plant, as well as the backup hyper potion nearby. Before battling Rival 5, I use up my proteins, equip the citrus berry for later in the battle, and then I battle Rival 5. If the last couple of rival battles went bad, I would hate to see how this one goes. In this battle, I use one defense curl on Pidgeot, and then I have to keep up an entire rollout chain to knock out the Pidgeot in 2 hits, followed by Execute, Alakazam, and Gyarados in 1 hit. And then on Charizard, I just use 2 Surfs. I have to reset if rollout ever misses, but luckily for me, that doesn't happen, and I win the battle on the first try. Okay, that is hilarious that Rival 3 and Rival 4 took multiple resets, while Rival 5 was a first try victory. That is hilarious to me. Finally, with Rival 5 taken down, I battle Giovanni for the 2nd time. On this fight, I have to spam Surf on his entire team, but what can make this hard is if his Nidorino or Nidoqueen try to poison me with Poison Sting, or Poison Point, or Nidoqueen can paralyze me with Body Slam. But during Nidoqueen's 1 turn to attack, it just uses a double kick, and I'm left slightly over half, and then Kangaskhan goes down in 3 Surfs. Even though it did get off a Mega Punch on me, I still managed to live and then take down the Rhyhorn easily and defeat Giovanni 2 on the first try. Damn, everyone in Silph Co was the first try victory for Marill. I then dig out a Silph Company causing massive property damages and vandalism. I go straight to Sabrina's gym and battle her. The main plan for Sabrina, just like every other fight so far, for the most part, is to use one defense curl and then spam rollout. It's a good thing her lead Kadabra does not have Kinesis or Flash, so that's a worry off my chest. And then once Kadabra is down, everything that follows is a one-hit. And then I defeat Sabrina on the first try and as my 4th gym badge, which doesn't happen too often due to how difficult Sabrina and Silph Co can be for some Pokemon. Now, the next stop is Erica. Although I do not have Ice Beam or anything super effective on her grass types, Defense Curl and Rollout spamming is enough to take her team down the first try. Although Victory Bell could use something bad like Stun Spore, luckily I do not get paralyzed by it, and then I take down the Victory Bell with Double Edge. I start my Rollout chain on Tangela and then take down the Vileplume pretty easily. Next up, I fly to Fuchsia City and enter Koga's gym. On the mandatory Juggler trainer with the 3 Drowsy and 1 Kadabra, the easy strategy is to spam Rollout. Another reason Rollout and Ice Ball can be helpful is you only have to use it once, it drains 1 power point, and you don't have to go back in the menu to reuse it, saving a lot of time. It may not be much time during 3 times speed, but still, it's convenient nonetheless. I then heal to full, equip a Pecha Berry in case of Toxic, and then take on Koga. This battle is one of the few battles I actually do not spam Rollout due to his Pokemon having very high defense stats, so spamming Surf is actually more consistent and way better. I do get Toxic from the Muck, but the Pecha Berry heals it up and then I don't get poisoned again, and I win the fight on a first try for around an hour and 15 minutes. I have 6 badges so far, and it being only an hour 15 minutes long is pretty impressive, especially when you realize what the next couple of gyms are. So after surfing to Cinnabar Island and getting the rare candy, Blizzard, and the secret key, I dig out and heal at the Cinnabar Pokemon Center. Before I do anything in there, I equip the Mystic Water and use my PP up on Surf, and then I spam Surf on every gym trainer, since Marill cannot afford to fall behind the level up curve in this game, especially since I've been skipping a lot of optional trainers, so it was the common sense thing to do. Besides, I've routed everything and I know every little bit of training I do is necessary. Once all the gym trainers are defeated, I heal the power points of Surf, and then I battle the fire type master Blaine. As you expect from the Fire-type Master, on an island surrounded by water, I came here with a Surf user and just spammed that move with it. Next, after I defeat Blaine, I encounter Bill and he asks me if I want to go to the Sevi Islands for a date, and I say yes, because it only takes around 4 minutes for me to do the Sevi Islands on 3 times speed, and while I'm here I can get a rare candy on Cape Brink, on 2 Island. Plus I can get a little bit of extra training done along the way, since I do have to fight some mandatory bikers on Island 3. Once I rescue Lost Tell from the creepy Hypno, I return her to her father, and then I talk to Bill and I'm able to go back to Kanto. Now that I'm back in my homeland, I fly to Viridian City and enter the gym right away. I spam Surf on the Cool Trainer and the Black Belt that are required in here, and then I restore my power points on Surf, and then battle Giovanni for the last time. Since Giovanni is the ground-type gym, all of his Pokemon are weak to water moves, so Marill having a same type attack bonus Surf is just extremely powerful, and Giovanni basically didn't stand a chance, especially since when he was kind of nerfed in this fight from Red and Blue, which is quite saying something, except the difference is the Fire Red and Leaf Green Giovanni won't just randomly use guard specs. With the gym challenge complete, I heal at the Pokemon Center and then battle Rival 6 before the Pokemon League. On Pidgeot, I do have to use 1 defense curl and then spam Rollout on everything else. However, this fight isn't completely safe. If Pidgeot ever uses Feather Dance on me, which is a move that lowers your attack by 2 stages or 50% of its original value, I reset right away, since I will miss a lot of ranges, which can result in a death. It doesn't happen on the first attempt, but I missed my rollout on execute, so that is a reset. On the next attempt, I keep missing rollout on the Gyarados and is able to deliver a ton of damage onto Marill, and then when I get to Charizard, it attacks me with Wing Attack, but I live on 10 hit points left, and I retaliate with a Surf boosted by Gyarados' Rain Dance, but it survives and I get another reset. Damn it. On the next attempt though, Alakazam disables my rollout and then I take it out with Return for the one hit, but not after Alakazam deals over half of my HP with Psychic. When I get back to Gyarados, rollout is no longer disabled luckily, so I just use it on Gyarados, but then it misses on the second turn and then Gyarados sets up a Rain Dance as I knock it out with rollout. Let's just hope rollout doesn't miss Charizard. It doesn't, and I survive a Wing Attack and I'm finally able to take out Rival 6. Okay, that's the difficult rival battle Marill has known this entire run so far. Now Marill is headed to the Pokémon League. While going through Victory Road, I get the rare candy and then I go through the cave and avoid all of the trainers like the plague, and then I arrive at the Indigo Plateau. I buy some full restores and full heals, but I don't face the league yet. Marill is way too weak at this point to take on the Elite Four with consistency or even a possibility of winning. I know what level I need to grind at to make every one of those fights consistent. So after I arrive at Indigo Plateau, mainly to set it as a fly point, I go all the way back to Lavender Town and south to Route 12, where I get the rare candy that's kind of out of the way, but it's nice to get it here if you have to grind. And then I grind on Fisherman Elliot until level 84 after rare candies. Once I achieve this level after a little bit, not too long since Marill is in the fast group, I'd go back to the Pokemon League and take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. Dewgong first comes out, and then I spam Return on it for 2 hit, although Lorelei does use a full restore. Next comes Cloyster. On Cloyster, I spam Return, but if it ever uses Dive, which I don't see too often since it likes to spam Protect, I can use Surf, which will do double the damage if the opponent is underwater. After Cloyster is defeated, Slowbro comes out. On it, I use 1 Defense Curl and then I spam Rollout for the rest of the battle. However, Rollout misses on the Jinx and then I get hit with a Lovely Kiss, but I take very little damage from Ice Punch luckily, but it doesn't really matter since when I wake up I'm at 1 hit point left, and I know I cannot take out Lapras in 1 hit. Unless I get a crit. Okay, that was pretty lucky. Moving on now. For Bruno, I have Attract, Taught Over, Return. The first Onix goes down in 1 Surf, and then on Hitmonchan, I use Attract to try and prevent Rock Tomb from lowering my speed. But however, it manages to break through its attraction to Marill and gets off a Rock Tomb followed by a Sky Uppercut. And now with my speed lowered, Hitmonlee is able to take me down to 8 HP left as I take it out. But I still outspeed the Machamp and I use Attract on it hoping to get some good luck. But that doesn't happen and Marill gets its first reset on the Pokemon League. On the next attempt, I make it back to Hitmonchan. It doesn't attack me this time, and I take it out with my speed still intact. I don't bother using Attract on the Hitmonlee, and then when Machamp comes out, I use Attract for the same reason as Hitmonchan, which is to avoid getting hit with Rock Tomb or just any powerful move in general. While it does get a move off of me, it is Scary Face, which was honestly way worse than Rock Tomb since it lowers my speed by 2 stages, not 1, but it ended up not mattering, and I take out the Machamp and the second Onix for the second try win. Now for Agatha. On her, the plan is to use Surf on her first Gengar, as well as her Golbat. I don't use Rollout on either of them since I need Rollout to take out her second Gengar. So when Arbok comes out, this is when I begin to set up my rollouts. The second Gengar comes out and puts Marill to sleep with Hypnosis. I was getting very worried for a second, especially since that Gengar used Nightmare. But I wake up right away, and then I go to my backup plan of spamming Surf on her entire team. Now for Lance's turn. Without Ice Beam, which I probably should have gotten to make this fight less luck dependent, but Oh well. On Gyarados, I set up a defense curl and then begins the rollout sweep. I defeat the first Gyarados with ease, and then the first Dragonair comes out, but I miss rollout and it hits me with Thunder Wave. That is basically a recipe for disaster. I tried to continue on anyway, but the Dragonite outspeeds me and takes me out with Outrage. On the next attempt, I get past the Gyarados, and then I do not miss on the first Dragonair or the second Dragonair, so I do not have to worry about anything bad going on. But unfortunately, I miss on the Dragonite, but that doesn't discourage me as I use Attract on it, and then I take it out with Rollout. Then the Aerodactyl comes out, it uses Wing Attack on me, but I survive with 15 hit points, and then I miss my Rollout and Aerodactyl finishes me off with Ancient Power. Man, that was so close. I'll just try again. Okay, attempt number 3 on Lance. I get past his Dragonite without missing, and then on Aerodactyl I decide to use Surf instead, and it gives me the 1 hit. Now, on to the champion. On the first attempt, I use Attract on Pidgeot right away so it hopefully won't get off a Sand Attack or Feather Dance, and then I use a Defense Curl and take it out with 2 rollouts. Luckily, Pidgeot doesn't get a single attack off of me. Now comes Exeggutor. It goes down in 1 hit. Then Alakazam comes out for the 1 hit as well, and now Rhydon gets 1 hit with a rollout so powerful, despite it resisting, it takes it out in a single hit. And Rhydon gets hit with a rollout so powerful, despite it resisting it, it takes it out in a single hit. Then when Gyarados comes out, the rollout chain just naturally ends, since it maxes out at 5 turns, and then I defeat it and the Charizard without any rollout misses, and Marill defeats the champion with a real time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 30 seconds, with 15 resets at level 87, and a game time at the Hall of Fame of 4 hours and 55 minutes. Okay, let's be honest. For a first stage Pokemon with a base stat total below 300, this Pokemon did exceptionally well. While yes, it had to rely on luck-dependent strategies like Rollout, it managed to hold its own quite nicely, especially with its ability Huge Power. So on the leaderboard, Marill gets a time that is slightly slower than Celio, with a very similar game time too. I think that is because they both started with water moves for Brock, and both relied on the defense curl rollout, or in Celio's case, Ice Ball strategy. But the thing is, Celio was a middle evolution, while Marill is not. Well, unless you count a Zurill, but I consider that a baby. But whatever the case, Marill did super well. But we're not done yet. We still have an entire second round of the Elite Four through this part, which isn't counted in the leaderboard, and I did not route it ahead of time. This is just for fun. In order to get access to the second round of the Pokemon League, you have to go to the Sevi Islands and finish the post-game side quests after you caught 60 Pokemon, which I legitimately did with PK Hex. I'm not going to go talk over it much since it's pretty easy to do, and a lot of the trainers in this part are really weak. Plus, the Sevi Islands can give you a bunch of useful items if you need it. If I ever get one of those useful items, I'm always sure to mention it. Anyway, after the Sevi Islands post-game side quest is finished, I get back to Kanto. I fly to Cerulean City and head to the power plant. There is an elixir and max elixir here since I used up my first batch of PP restoring items in the actual run, and I'm going to get some new ones for this one. With those items obtained, I head back to the Berry Forest where I rescue Lost Tell on Island 3, and I get a max elixir here as well just in case I need it. I also decide to go to Sevi Isle 7 to get the move tutor for Body Slam, but I couldn't find it, so I paused my run and the recording as well. I realized it was on Sevi Island 4 near Lorelei's house, and then I realized that and taught Marill Body Slam, and then head to do the second round of the Pokemon League. But as you can tell from this footage, I actually forgot to unpause my recording, and I didn't realize it until Bruno. So I have no recollection of Lorelei. I think it'd be safe to assume the fight was just spamming Rollout or whatever I could using Surf or on the Pillow-Swine. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, on Bruno, I take down his Steelix quite easily with Surf, and everything else is also pretty easy with Surf. Although his fighting-type Pokemon do have powerful moves, I made the mistake of using Body Slam on Hitmonchan, and it used Counter. Well, luckily I still lived, but I cannot afford to take any hits from Machamp. So I use Attract on it, and then I try to whittle it down, but it breaks through the Attract, and on the second turn I get taken out. On the next attempt, it goes down. On the next attempt, though, I use Surf on the Hitmonchan instead, so it's not able to successfully use Counter, and then I get back to Machamp. I decide to use Attract on it yet again, and continue spamming Body Slam, and I get a lucky Paralysis, but it doesn't even matter. I unfortunately put it into heal range, Bruno uses a full restore, and it's gone. But it doesn't really matter in the end, as I take out his Machamp and the second Steelix with Surf. Now it's time for Agatha. I'm going to talk in detail about this fight, since this fight was extremely difficult. On the first attempt, Gengar outsped me and put me to sleep with Hypnosis, and then used Confuse Ray, and when I managed to land Surf, it deals half of its HP. And then after the first Gengar is Misdreavus, where I get my first reset. I decide to try the fight again with a Lumberry, and then it wakes Marill up right away after Hypnosis. Now with Misdreavus out, I just spam Surf on it, but it's not even a 2-hit, and I get knocked out, causing another reset. I use my emergency post-game rare candies, which I got in through hacking, but I left them in the PC since they're only for round 2 to save some time. Since it doesn't even count for the league, I get all the way to level 95 and try again. Because when I do round 2, my main goal is to not be level 100, and if I end up being level 100, try not to use Double Team. On the first attempt at level 95, I use Attract on the first Gengar and get some pretty good luck. And then on Misdreavus, I try to use a rollout, but then it uses Attract on me, causing my rollout streak to break. So I decide to use Surf on it instead. And then Misdreavus just defeats me with Psychic. Okay, this fight's getting quite difficult. I make it to the Arbok for the first time. It does deal a lot of damage to me, and I'm left on 9 hit points left. But it doesn't end up mattering, as the Arbok just defeats me anyway. When I realized that level 95 wouldn't work, I used some more rare candies to get to level 98, a damage rounding threshold. And then while I was at that level, I decided I should just go all the way to level 100. Well, I can't do any more grinding. Let's see if I can do this without Double Team. On the first Gengar battle at level 100, it still outspeeds me and puts me to sleep, but the Lumberry cures it right away and it misses its next Hypnosis, and then I move on to Misdreavus at full health. I use Surf on it to deal more than half to it, and then it uses Attract, and then I break through the attraction and defeat it. Now for the Arbok. It looks as if Surf is going to be a 3-hit KO, barely a 2-hit. And then Arbok uses a full restore, which is very unfortunate. So when it heals back up, I get hit with a critical hit Sludge Bomb that poisons me, which is just irritating, and then I died of poison damage. Well, I don't think this is going to work, so I decide to replace Rollout with Double Team. Rollout is just too weak at this point since I don't have Defense Curl anymore, so that was a good move to get rid of. Let's see if I can even defeat Agatha. I'm not going to keep narrating every single fight to avoid sounding repetitive, so I'm just going to let these battles play in the background, as I want to talk about this battle. To be honest, one of the main problems with this fight is that the Gengar actually outspeeds me, so there's a lot of luck with Hypnosis. Plus the Misdreavus can be a threat with Attract. The Misdreavus is the only other Pokemon besides Lorelei's Jinx in round 1 and random trainers with Clefairy that have the move Attract or the ability Q-Charm. And being a male Pokemon, so being female does not protect me from that thing. But I would much rather just have protection in the first round, when that matters, than the second round when it's just for fun. For example, if I'm setting up on the Misdreavus, it can still land a bunch of attacks as I'm setting up and cause a reset. I actually have an unwritten rule for round 2. If an Elite 4 member in round 2 takes 30 attempts to face and I still have not beaten them, I deem round 2 a failure, since the Pokemon would need way too much luck to be feasible at all, especially in a consistent speedrun type of setting. One move I would really want for this fight, but I did not get, is Rest, but I left it on the SS Sand since I didn't need it for the main story, but I probably should have gotten it anyway just in case I needed it. This ended up being a huge mistake, but even if Marill had Rest, the amount of luck that it would be needed is just way too high. so when I eventually lost to Agatha and my reset counter ticked to 40, I deemed the run a failure. I know this wasn't exactly 30, but I just knew this fight wasn't possible at this point. Since I already ended the round 2 run anyway, I tried having rest on the moveset by hacking the TM back in my bag, but even with that, the luck is still way too high, so yeah, round 2 is a failure. I apologize to everyone who thought Marill was going to win the second round, but I guess this is where Marill's strength comes to an end. Its non-existent bulk is to blame for this. Marill cannot get past fights with a huge amount of strength alone. Bulk is also the key to outlast your opponents. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of the Pokemon Speedrun Analysis series. The next Pokemon we'll be doing is Togetic and Pokemon Leafgreen, another one of my old 386 Speedrun Challenge redos that needs to be redone. Hopefully it'll do a better job than Marill. Please like, comment, subscribe, and follow my socials if you want to see more. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next speedrun.